You may go right ahead.
Very good. So the question is, who is Ronne Haag? And the first answer that I usually give to people that ask is that I am a child of God. I have been for almost about 20 years now. He adopted me into his family, and through that he has been teaching me to try to be a good husband of 30 years, to be a father of 5, and to rule my house well. Been a citizen of Georgia and Gwinnett County for a little bit over 19 years now, and party politics was not my first passion, but God seems to open up the doors. So I worked on and helped with a few state legislators to get into office, and try to, as Garland had suggested, be involved in as many local activities or state rallies or wherever we can. Have befriended many in the State House that I can work with, and hopefully these relationships will serve me going forward. I'm asked the question, why the county seat? And the Lord opened up a door in that realm. We've had the Republicans entrenched in there for decades now. Gwinnett County has been always a strong hotbed for the Republican Party. But because of the mistrust, because of the poor decisions, and some of those I'll detail in a little bit, my county commissioner has determined that he's going to step down, so the seat is open. And with that, I've decided, well, what do I need to do? And as you've heard, third-party independents have to garner ballot access. And yes, I have to garner a little bit less than 4,000 signatures by the end of June for the county commission seat. The next question I get is, why the Constitution Party? Well, I go back to reason number 1. We see the Republican Party, we see a lot of the major parties not honoring God first, not giving him the glory, but puffing themselves up and working in their own eyes and their own understanding with no standards and no principles. As we've seen in the presentations, they flip-flop back and forth. They say one thing, they do something else. They support one thing one moment, and the next moment they find out it's not going to help their political career. Well, we need principled men. We need principled policies. We need principled regulations. A couple of examples that I've cited. June 26, 2002, you had the Ninth Circuit Court rule that the Pledge of Allegiance is unconstitutional. But yet, the next day, the Supreme Court says, ruling in favor that school vouchers are good for the state of Ohio, and those school vouchers can be used in religious schools. So what is it? Separation of church and state or not? We have mixed signals, even from our leadership. You have the Congress of the United States, our state house, each day that they're in session, they have a prayer. So why can't we have it in school? These things are so conflicting, and we need to stand up for these things. My last thing is, and you can look at our website and our media center, there's an article by Tom Holmes, why America needs additional parties, why they need a third party. So I posted on my website, has the time come? I believe it has. I think the time has come that voters are expecting more choices when it comes to the ballot box. Why are we limited? We're over in Iraq right now trying to push our democracy. Do you know their election had 17 people? But yet here in the United States, we're only allowed 2. We're only allowed 1, maybe 3. Why is that? Why can some place have that, but we're oppressed here in our own country, our own nation? I say yes, I think the time has come. So that's what I'm doing. So my plans? Well, first and foremost, I've got to get on the ballot because it's very difficult if folks don't know you're there. So I have till June 30th, actually July 13th, but my goal is to be having my petitions in the county office by June 30th. Continue to attend as many functions, getting my message out there, getting my name out there, knocking on doors, talking with bloggers, talking with the papers, just what you've heard Jeff say. We've got a message, and we think it's right, we think it's true, and we think it's the best to do. So myself, what do I stand for? I put together my own personal platform, and it aligns very well with the Constitution wording. Limited government. God's word does say what its responsibilities and what authority it has. He defines that quite clearly. Life. We just had Gwinnett County issue an office in Lawrenceville, in the county seat, an office for an abortion clinic now that is fully operational. Liberty, the freedom of conscience and the actions for self-governance. The family, one husband, one wife, with their children, divinely instituted. And property. Each individual right to own his own property and be the steward of that without government burden. So what do I want to do? As a county commissioner, I would love to start restoring that heritage that was given to us by God. One of the things that I'm looking at, this fundamental right, and it's stated by our framers, that the Fifth Amendment Bill of Rights, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without first compensation and just compensation. Title I, Chapter 2 of our own Constitution says the right of private property and the disposition of it thereof. So we have constitutional laws that give us a right to property, but we don't own it today. We don't own our property. Even if we pay the loan off, the state says who owns it, and right now it's the government. Working with legislators now to try to get House Resolution 27 passed, which basically will give the power to the counties to determine how they will fund their coffers. It will remove the mandate of property tax. It will remove the mandate of begging for sales tax. So the counties will have that authority on how they can do that. I think this is the direction, or at least some of the direction that we need to do to restore property rights back to us.